Welcome back to my channel, everyone. By everyone, I mean the one person who watches these videos, and that one person is me. So welcome back, me. This is a little bit of a review of the last week of my life. It is a little bit late to upload because I have never done a voiceover video before, and I've never done time-lapse videos before, and so the editing process for this video in particular was challenging, but we did it. So let's start with day one. So this is actually me on the evening of New Year's Day, January 1st, 2025. And the funny thing is that I would normally, I do have a cleaning schedule because I'm a psychopath. Normally this would be a day that I would get a lot of cleaning done just based on the day of the week that it was. But because I saw on Facebook where several people had posted that it's bad luck to clean on New Year's Day, I didn't do anything except sit right here the entire day and reread The Fourth Wing. I love this series so much. I'm so excited for the next book in the series to come out, and I know everybody else is rereading this if they love the series to get ready for the next book. This is actually a snapshot of my favorite Christmas PJs, and I just wanted them on the record. And then the morning of January 2nd, I woke up and I spent some time loving on my dog Toretto. Toretto is such a good boy. He was actually rescued as a puppy from the animal clinic where I used to work. He was going to be euthanized because his owner couldn't afford a surgery that he needed on his face because he had been attacked by his dog father. And so that's funny. Instead of Godfather, it's Dogfather. Any hoozle. We kept him and we love him. And this was a sunrise from that morning. We don't get a whole lot of really pretty sunrises where we live in our canyon, just because you can't see the horizon very well, but I had to record this one. Alright, so this evening I decided to sit down and write down my goals for 2025. I didn't do a whole lot else the rest of the day, but I did make a promise to myself this year that every day I'm going to be doing at least one thing that leads toward my goals this year. And so that one thing on this day was to sit down and actually write everything down. I think it's so important to just make a list of things that you want and want to work towards. So that's what I did. A few things on that list. One of them was to actually start this vlog, which I think is super fun. This has been a goal of mine for a really long time, mostly because I want to be able to record my life kind of like a diary, but I also think it's really important to have something like this to show my kids. I feel like so many people don't really know what their parents' lives were like before them. They kind of have somewhat of an idea, but sometimes it's just a few pictures of like, this is us getting married, and then, oh, boom, you were there. And there's kind of a lot of work, especially in my case, there's a lot of work that goes into the time before we have a family. Another one of the goals that I have for this year is to become debt-free for both me and my husband and our future. I think it's really important for us to have that goal mostly accomplished before we start a family, and so having that written down and kind of solid as a plan was really, really important. I am patiently waiting on a job right now that I got a job offer for almost 2 months ago now, but they claim that everything is still moving forward. Things just got behind because of the holidays, so hopefully I can get that job soon and start working towards the goal of becoming debt-free. A few more of the goals that I wrote down included getting our family's business back up and running. We had a wildfire occur in 2022 that burned all of the infrastructure in this business down to the ground. It is an RV park, so obviously the infrastructure is incredibly important. And so I would really love to get our business back up and running again. And then another goal that I wrote down was to get a few more rooms in our house remodeled. The house that we live in was my husband's grandmother's house before she passed away, and so we've been remodeling it since 2020, and I just love to see some more of it get done this year. So this is actually me on Sunday, January 5th. We do celebrate all 12 days of Christmas in our house, and during those 12 days, we really try to relax as much as possible. We both have very busy lives. Even though I haven't been working, I do try to stay extremely busy and keep up with our house, our yard, our property, everything. And so during those 12 days, we really try to take that time to just relax and enjoy things, but things do have to get done sometimes. So this was me actually stocking up on wood. It was predicted for us to get some snow this week, so I wanted to make sure we had plenty of wood. Our wood stove is actually the sole source of heat in our house, and so making sure that we have plenty dry wood is very, very important. We get our wood from my father-in-law, who is actually a hazard tree removal specialist, aka a logger, but he only removes trees that are in the way or going to damage somebody's property or dead or something, etc. He doesn't just go out and clear cut acres or anything like that. These are all trees that have to come down, so we use that wood very judiciously throughout the winter season to be able to heat our home. So it's really a great environmentally friendly way to do things, and also just cheap because we don't have to pay a heating bill, which is nice, and we don't have to buy any wood. So I had to spend some time gathering wood while my husband was at work. I stacked it all up here so it's in our carport and ready to go and be used. If you're wondering where my gloves are, so am I. I lost them, I think, a few weeks ago and have since been unable to find them. Honestly, they had a million holes in them, so they weren't doing me too good anyways, but it is also not smart to not be wearing long sleeves, and you're about to see in a minute why that is. I really, really, really wish that I hadn't been so hot and just wanted to get this done, but I did, and I wore short sleeves, and then I paid for it later. In case you were wondering, we use a side-by-side to get our wood from one part of our property to the other, and that side-by-side was not working really since the fire happened, which was a couple years ago now, and it was nice to have that back. Yep, that's my arm. Wear gloves, people. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about our 12 Days of Christmas. This is the letterboard that I have in our bathroom, and this was our Christmas tree. Because this is 12th night, or January 5th, or the day before Epiphany, whatever you want to say, it was the day to go ahead and take our Christmas tree down. So that's what I did. It wasn't that hard of a process. I usually do it by myself. My husband and I usually put it up together, and then I just take it down whenever he's at work. Honestly, this was probably the best tree that we've had, definitely the prettiest tree that we've had since we moved into this house. We do get a live tree every year by going on to recreation.gov, getting a Forest Service permit, and going out into the forest and cutting down our tree. It is always a fun tradition, and we have never had a fake tree before. Not that I have anything particular against fake trees, just it seems kind of cringy to me that when they start to not look so good anymore, they go into a landfill where they have to disintegrate for like 200 years and leave 1 million microplastics in our soil. So that I do not love, and that's why we usually get a live tree. Maybe someday I will want to get a fake tree, maybe something that'll just be good quality enough to be passed down through our family or something like that. But until then, it's going to be live trees for us. And I do actually love the way that they look. Very classy, very classic, and yeah, but they do dry out and they do get needles everywhere, so that's why we might get a fake one someday. My husband's a firefighter, and so having trees dry out is always scary. So I went outside. I did try to saw the branches off at first. I don't know why. That was really stupid. After a while, you'll see me give up and go and find the loppers, which actually just cut off the branches like scissors, and it's much, much faster than trying to use the saw. But we usually do this and save the branches. Traditionally, we would go ahead and burn them that night, which is a tradition that is supposed to bring luck in the new year. But unfortunately, we are under a fire weather watch in our area because we haven't had any snow since the very, very beginning of November. Pretty sure it was like the day after Election Day that we last had snow. So we can't burn them outside, but we'll go ahead and wait for the branches to dry out, and we'll burn them in our wood stove, and hopefully that's enough luck for the next year. It's kind of fun. I was surprised how light that last trunk was. I also went ahead and made Italian bread for dinner that night because my husband loves homemade Italian bread, and I usually make it with spaghetti, which I think was what I did, and it was super fun. It's always really satisfying to punch down the dough. The next day, we had to do some work in the RV park. We had a water leak that we had to fix, and we had somebody trying to trespass on our property, so we had to put some signs up. The rest of the day, we just kind of relaxed, enjoyed Epiphany Day, played some video games, hung out in the living room. It was a nice day. There is my cat Zimbiri. She's a sweetie girl. So that night, because it was the last night of basically the Christmas season, I went ahead and took one video of our exterior lights. I loved these lights so much. I got the icicle lights off of Amazon earlier in 2024, and they have been so fun. I've loved them so much, and it was freezing outside because we had a cold front moving in with that snow, so yeah, I was so cold. The next day, I am obviously much more bundled up, and this is a time-lapse of me going ahead and taking down our Christmas lights. I did leave those front lights plugged in, and I'll probably leave them up till about mid-February because the front of our house really doesn't get any sun, and it's just nice to have those as porch lights in the evenings instead of having our normal porch lights on. It just is more magical for the winter. This was a fun little project trying to get these off. My husband actually wrapped them around each screw that was in the side of the roof that we normally hang the Christmas lights on. So trying to get them off was a pain in the butt. And then this is me taking off the lights of the outside tree. These lights we ended up putting on with a bucket truck, which is also my father-in-law's that he uses for his tree cutting business. Taking them off was supposed to be a little bit easier. However, because of the cold in my hands, freezing to death because once again I don't have gloves, this was a much longer process. But I found this light pole that I had made, I think last year when I tried to put the lights on the tree by myself, and it helped me get them off. Although this was still like a freaking 45-minute process, and it was exhausting, especially trying to keep my neck back like that the whole time and look up. Ugh, it's awful. And all of my crow's feet are from trying to squint into the sun while doing this, both putting them on and taking them down. That seems dramatic, but it's true. Anyways, it's kind of satisfying though to watch all the lights come off. I thought it would be just as satisfying as when I took down the Christmas tree, but obviously this is taken a little bit farther away and it's in the daylight, so you can't really see the lights, but it's still kind of fun to watch the lights pile up on the side. I did love having this tree fully decorated with like a million strands of lights. It was so beautiful. Then I went ahead and got the rest of these icicle lights down on the front of the house. The next day, hey, it snowed. It was super beautiful. This is me actually running our snowplow for the very first time ever. We've never had a snowplow before, and my husband put this on so that I wouldn't have to shovel anymore, which I hate shoveling, so it's amazing that he put this on for me. But he was working, so I got to use it for the first time. Ha ha ha! And I actually really loved it. All of the RVs that you see here are our long-term tenants. That's the only part of our business that we have open right now is for long terms, which are basically local people that have jobs here in our town. We do not have any short terms coming in right now, which is the part of the business that we have closed. So that is basically the end of the vlog. This is me pushing the snow to the side. If you have anything that interested you and you'd like to see more, leave a comment below, like, and subscribe!